Okay, so let's start the topic. So basically, what we are going to do. So we have one data sets. Okay, that data sets is from Ireland government. I just got this data sets from the internet. It's from the open platform. Okay, so I'm just taking example. It's a data sets of Ireland government. That data sets we have to train and we have to convert into model. For that, we have to train the model, build the model, and deploy the model. So where we will deploy the model, we will deploy into machine learning service. For machine learning service, we are not creating our own setup. Own setup means what we can do, we can uh, configure Kubernetes cluster, or we can configure VMs, virtual machines, and then there we can set up a proper machine learning environment. But we're not doing that. What we are doing, we have one service in AWS called AWS SageMaker. So what we will do, we will deploy our model into this SageMaker service. And after that, we will monitor the models. Okay. And for monitoring the model, we can use uh, tools like Prometheus and Grafana to monitor the models. Okay. For that, what we have to do, we have to make a first step-by-step setups. Okay. For that, we have to configure few services of AWS. Then we can uh, come to this point like we can now trail the model and build and deploy the models. So first of all, what we have to do, first we have to create IAM roles, okay, to configure the SageMaker. Then we have to create S3 buckets where we will store our data. And then we will create AWS SageMaker where we will deploy our model. First, we will set up these things, and once this thing will be set up, then we will go for the model things like we will get the data, and then we will convert into models. Okay, then we will trail that model, and then we will deploy that model into SageMaker. These things we are going to do. So complete these things are related to MLOps, machine learning operations. Okay, this is the MLOps process, machine learning operations. Let's go and configure those things. So, do you remember last time how we have configured the things?
How we configure the user?
Everything like how we have started the process. I'm just asking, I know the process, but I'm just asking if you remember.
Can I try to do that one more time?
Yeah, we will do it one more time, but do you know like what
Yeah.
steps we have followed, what we have configured first, what was our approach?
One more time you explain.
Okay, okay, then you don't remember, right?
Yeah, I have to. And I don't remember. I need to take notes now. I'm taking everything notes.
Okay, so first of all, we have to create IAM role. For that, we can go on IAM. We can go on roles. Service role. Okay. This is your new account, right? You don't have role also.
Yeah, this is my new account.
Okay. So I'm creating the role first. So I will click on create role, and then after that we have to select. We are creating this role for the AWS services. We are not creating for any account, any web identity, any custom trust. Not for
For
these.
AWS SageMaker service, we are creating this node.
Yeah. So first of all, we have to just select AWS service, and then we have to search here our SageMaker service. For
I have a small doubt, bro. One
hmm,
second. AWS service, AWS account, web identity. When we will use the remaining options here?
AWS service, you use. See why we create role. We create role to communicate from one service to another service. Now you are going to configure AWS SageMaker, and you will connect this SageMaker with your S3 bucket, because in S3 bucket you will upload your data, right? So you will connect this S3 bucket with the SageMaker. So by default, there is no this kind of like configuration. So automatically S3 will communicate with SageMaker. For that, what you have to do, you have to make a path, you have to make a configuration. That configuration which will allow S3 to communicate with SageMaker. So that is only possible with the role concept. So what you are doing, you are giving role to SageMaker, then SageMaker will communicate to S3. So when you want to communicate in same account with different services, then you will use service option in the role. Okay. When you want to communicate in the same account, when you want to communicate with two different services, then you go with the service. You create role for the services. But when you want to communicate for different account from different account, then you have to create role for a different account, for different AWS account. Let's suppose there is account A. This is your account A, and this is your account B. Two different AWS accounts. Now in this account you have configured your S3 bucket. You are storing your data, and now in this different account you have your SageMaker service, SageMaker configured. Now you want to communicate this account S3 bucket to this different account SageMaker. Then how it's possible to both, if accounts are different, how it's possible to communicate? Then what you have to do, you have to create role for AWS account. Like I want this account service to communicate with this account. Then you go with the account based role. Then you create for the role for the accounts. Are you getting my point? You can read also.
Yeah,
Allow
clear.
entities in other AWS account belonging to you or a third party to perform actions in this account. If in this account you want to perform an action from different account, then you have to create account based role. But I'm not doing right now any account based configuration, account based practical. What I'm doing in the same account I have to configure everything: S3 bucket, SageMaker, model, everything I will do in a single account. That's why I'm going with the services, not with the account. Are you understood these two things?
Yeah, yeah.
Then third thing is web identity. If you come here, you will see the provider. Okay, when you want to connect your this AWS account with some third party web interfaces like Google or Amazon Cognito, Facebook, when you want to connect your AWS account with these things, these platforms, then you have to come with, then I have to create a role for web identity. Like I will create role for like Facebook, let's suppose. I will select Facebook, then application ID, and then next. I have to do lots of configuration. Then only what will be happen, my this AWS account will connect to the Facebook. Okay, let's suppose Facebook has some data. That data you want to store into AWS S3 bucket, and you want to connect this Facebook with the AWS or any third party identity or web interface you want to connect with the AWS. Then you go with the web identity. Okay, then you have to create role for the web identity. This is the third option. Fourth option is SAML 2.0 federation allow users federate with SAML 2.0 from a corporate directory to perform actions in this account. Okay, like maybe in your company there is they are using some different softwares. Okay, let's suppose they're using Postman, or they are using any JMeter or something, any kind of third party software they're using in your company. Now that software you want to connect with the AWS, then you go with the SAML 2.0 federation kind of policy, role. Okay, any party third party software your company is using, that you want to communicate with your uh, account, then you go with the SAML 2.0 federation. And it's basically mainly be like, suppose you want to connect with the Node.js, like the coding languages basically, then you go with this SAML. Then fourth is custom trust policy. Custom means you don't want to attach any rules, or you don't want to create any rule. What you want to do, you know the JSON, you know how to write the policies, you know how to write uh, this kind of code, like which will communicate with these the two different things. Then you can write your own policy here, your own code here. When you go with this kind of things, then AWS automatically write the code and give it to you. But if you want to write your own policy, your own rule, then you can come to custom policy and you can write by yourself. So this is the four options. In our case, we have to select SageMaker service. So I have selected the SageMaker. SageMaker, you have two options: SageMaker execution and SageMaker hypercloud cluster. We will go with the execution. The next.
1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Let me just this. Sorry. 1 second, let me note down.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Now we have to give permissions to this role. Like you're creating the role, but in this role, what you can do? So you giving permission like Amazon SageMaker full access. If I will attach this permission to any service like S3 or anything, they have full access of the SageMaker. Okay, or so automatically we have got the permission here. We don't have to edit. Then we can do next. Role name you can give. Role name I will give like SageMaker service role. Then you can create role. After create role, you have in this role you have to attach one more policy, one more permission, that is S3 permission. That also you can add, like you can add permission, attach policies. Then you can select that policies, like I am selecting S3 one. So this is the S3 full access permission I am giving to this role. And in the later we will monitor also the SageMaker models and these kind of things. So we need CloudWatch also. So CloudWatch also I'm giving CloudWatch full access. CloudWatch is a monitoring service of AWS. That also I'm giving. Hmm.
So
Now this,
AWS SP and CloudWatch, these two permission are added.
yeah, I have added extra these two permissions because in
One
S3 we
second.
will store our data,
Note down.
and in CloudWatch we will monitor the SageMaker. That's why I have given these two permissions.
1 second, let me note down that.
Okay, then this one thing is done. Okay, now next what we can do, AWS stateful access, SageMaker, CloudWatch, everything is ready.
Hello.
One second, I'm checking. S3, SageMaker. Now we have to set up AWS command line interface in your local system.
Now,
Because
now we are going to deploy a model, or we are doing from the first we are building the model, then how we
everything
are.
we will do. That's why we are what we are doing. We are just setting up AWS command line interface in our local machine, and then we will install there our Python dependencies. Okay, and once Python will be ready, then we will what we will do. We will train the model first. Okay, then we will deploy the models. Okay, and then we will test the models, and after that we will clean up, and then we will go on ML ops and this kind of things we will do. We can try with Jupyter Notebook also, but that also we will cover. First of all, what is our things? We have created the role. After the role, what we have to do, we have to set up a command line interface of AWS in our local machine, and then we have to install few dependencies first. So this first thing is ready. Now, now I will go and I will install. We can do one thing. This setup you can make in your own laptop. That will be more helpful because you will do the practical, so that will be more better. You can share your screen account. You can open AWS.
Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
I have to open the account, right? AWS account.
Hmm.
Yeah. Tell me.
We can create S3 bucket also if you want now to store our data. So what you can do, you can just go on S3 service, search
Bro,
S3.
bro, what we are going to do now? Already we created a user, M user. After that, what we are,
No, not
what is the
user. We have created role.
not, yeah.
Role we have created. Now we will configure S3 bucket. After that, we will install AWS command line interface in our local laptop. And then we will go further to train the model, test the model, build the model in this kind of things.
Okay. Can I open the S3 then?
Yeah,
Create bucket, general purpose, right? So
hmm.
what is the bucket name I will give?
Anything you can type.
Okay.
Yes.
Ownership, object ownership. Object ownership. What is object ownership? ACL, disabled, enabled.
This you can disable the ACL.
Okay, as it is.
Hmm. See, you have two options here. Okay. First is if you know any source, like from where you will get the data and models. Then what you can do, you can directly in your when we are, you will deploy the code. In that code, you can directly define that path. Like from this path, you can pick my data, my models, and you can deploy into SageMaker. That is one option. Second option, you can store that all data, that all models into S3 bucket, and from here you can call. So you have two options. So
First option is means
you can just
one
define
of
directly path. Let's suppose you have stored your data into GitHub. So you can define your GitHub path there. Like in this path, my data is there. You can pick data from here, like that.
here choose bucket.
No, not here. In the code, when we define that code, just okay. Don't think about it. Just create the bucket now. Now,
Okay. Create bucket.
yes.
What happened?
Name you can take any unique name like SageMaker, MLOps, CJs, like something like that.
Yes.
Okay. So your this thing is also done. Okay. Now we can, if you want, later also we can do, but if you want, you can configure AWS SageMaker also right now.
AWS SageMaker I can configure.
Yes.
What it means? I can configure AWS SageMaker means what I'm trying to configure.
SageMaker service you can configure now if you want now. Otherwise, you can do later also. Okay. But we will create later because it charge little the charges is little high in the SageMaker service. So when that things come, we will create. For now, we will do initial setups of the model building and all. Okay.
Okay.
So for that, what we have to do? First of all, we have to set up AWS CLI in our local laptop to process the to work on a model. So what you can do? What things are ready now? Your S3 service is ready. Your IAM roles are ready. Now just you have to create SageMaker, and then you have to uh, trail, test, deploy your model, this kind of things. So first, what we are doing, we are set up on that process. Like we will set up our model training, building, deploying process, and then in the last we will create our SageMaker things. Now what you can do, you can just go and install AWS CLI software in your local laptop.
How
Open
do I
new
install
open new tab in a Google.
AWS CLI install?
Yes.
What is the use of AWS CLI?
you
Handsome?
you can work on AWS by commands. You don't need to work by graphical interface. Like you have to come here and you are doing everything manually. No.
This is this one, right?
Yes.
Install it.
Yes. Hello.
I install?
Yeah, yeah, please install.
I'll just double click that one.
Please install it.
Preparing to install. What is this? Yeah. Next, I accept the terms and license. Next, everything fine now?
Yes, yes, you can
Hello?
just next install.
It's installing, okay.
Hmm.
This account is free, right? The one that we're
This new one.
yeah, this the currently the one that we are